Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 149, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I'm here with my best pal, Brian Hall.
Hey, good morning, Zachy.
So, Brian, this is our second podcast in a row that we are recording this lovely Saturday morning.
This morning, and it's only 8:25 a.m.
We've been very productive this morning.
Yeah, take that, Dad talking to teenage Brian, who won't wake up Saturday morning.
So, little sneak preview. I'm excited to share this. Brian and I just got off the phone with Mike Reiss, who is a writer-producer on The Simpsons since its inception. Back in the late 80s all the way to now. He's still involved, and he's hyping up his new book, so I asked him to come on the Nostalgia Theater Show, and I knew if I was going to have him on the Nostalgia Theater Show, I needed to drag Brian along with me like an anchor around my ankles.
I was going to say, more like you opened the door to ask, and I was already there dancing on my toes, like, hee, like just waiting to be asked.
Now, anybody who listens to this show already knows the outsized place that The Simpsons holds in both of our hearts, and how in many ways that show is the foundation of our friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we mentioned it to him, which was just a dream come true, saying that it is a second language, and I know I can communicate to different people differently through Simpsons quotes, and that's definitely been true for Zachy and I, and I think helped us become fast friends.
So having this opportunity on the Nostalgia Theater Show, me and Brian just chatting with the guy who made so many of the memories that are so cherished by us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is very surreal. So that's coming up on the Nostalgia Theater Shows, featuring special guest star Brian Hall.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, in those TV series when I'm trying to think. It's, you know what it's like? It's like when Mulder and Scully showed up on The Simpsons.
Yes.
That's Brian Hall showing up on my other podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's coming up not this week, but next week. So look for that on Nostalgia Theater. But in addition to that, Brian, it has been forever since we've done just a regular show. The last time we talked was our episode 2 commentary. The time before that was our all solo show.
Yeah.
And so we haven't done just like, hey, what's happening? What have you seen since, I don't know. I think, it was like April or something.
It's crazy. I had notes of things that I wanted to remember to bring up, and now they feel a little out of date. So, yeah, I'm happy to finally get caught up here.
The speed of entertainment news is such that if you miss a week, you miss a lot. And we've missed quite a bit, but we'll try to backfill as best we can.
Yeah.
So what have you seen lately?
Well, it's funny. Not a ton, actually. I just, I saw Attack of the Clones twice in 1 week.
Yes. And what an experience that was. And by the way, actually, while we're talking about that, thanks to everybody for the feedback about the Attack of the Clones commentary track.
Yeah, Zachy's way more plugged into the social media Twitter thing than I am, and he's really kind to actually forward a lot of this stuff to me to make sure I see it, and it is so encouraging and validating to just, we do this thing and you put it out there and you have no idea where it's landing, and just for people to take the time to tell you that they like something really means a lot.
And I mean, we get, a decent amount of feedback for regular episodes. I would say for Attack of the Clones, we got our regular amount times 2 easily.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So big thanks for that. And if you haven't checked it out, I hope you do. I think we dropped a few decent bits of business in there. I think we were sort of workshopping the story as we were watching.
Yeah. Well, I know by the end, and which is my favorite part of this show and in the commentaries, by the end we're just kind of cracking each other up. And so
yeah, we set out with good intentions. We were like, we're not gonna just rip on this movie.
No, and I don't really feel like we did. I mean, we called out things that are worth calling out, but we also not defended, but we stood by some things that we think are still, fun about that movie, and talked about what we would have done differently. I thought it was a pretty even-handed conversation.
I think so, and I want to mention our listener Tyler Kloster, who actually watched the movie in sync with our commentary.
Oh, cool!
And that's something that I don't think people actually do it.
To be honest, I mean, we record them so you can, but I never assume people will. Because
Yes.
I'm the type of person, I listen to podcasts and things like this on the go when I'm doing laundry or driving to work or whatnot. So I just assume everyone will do it that way. But I hope it was a really fun experience to do that.
According to him, it was. So
Great.
thank you, Tyler, for doing that, and thanks everybody for the and by the way, our next track will be Jurassic Park, the original, which will be coming very shortly.
Very cool.
But with that, in addition to Attack of the Clones twice in a week, what'd you watch as a chaser for that?
Well, the only thing that I really had here, I mean, I've kind of been flipping in and out of stuff. The only thing I watched from front to back recently was I was flipping channels one slow Saturday, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was starting on HBO.
Wow.
And
1988.
yeah, or 89, I think. I think that came out the same year as Batman and Last Crusade and all that stuff, Ghostbusters 2 and everything.
Oh, was it?
And,
okay, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, and man, that's a fun movie. It was enough that I was like, I'm going to bring this back up, because I remember a while back we have a listen, Kara, and she was asking good movies to recommend to her kids, and I was like, this is the perfect movie. I think, if your kid's like 8 years old or something like that. I thought, effects are wonky maybe to a person's eyes now with digital effects, but at the same time, that notwithstanding, they're still pretty impressive, the stuff that they pull off. A lot of they almost like recreate the speeder bike chase from Return of the Jedi, but on a Bumblebee. And it looks fairly good. And, there's like a whole ant that they become friends with. It's, the size of a cow. And I don't know. I was enchanted with it again, even as an adult. And I was also, I brought this up, but when I revisit movies from when I was a kid, I'm always kind of impressed with the adult characters. I'm like, oh, I don't think I really paid attention to this as a kid, but they really tried to make these adults actual people. And,
Yeah.
with something going on. And Matt Frewer in particular, he's really good in that movie. He's very funny.
I think, to be honest, that's one of the best roles he's ever had.
Yeah, and they even give him a complete arc, which
Right.
I did not track at all as a kid. But I mean,
As a kid, right.
parent, I mean, he's a parent that's sort of lost in his own world of how he wants to parent his kids, and by the end, he, is willing to sacrifice himself for their own, safety and rescue.
He's been on a journey by the end.
Yeah. So anyway, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I think for people that liked it as a kid, I think it might be a fun thing to revisit, and for people with kids, I think your kids will enjoy it.
In that vein, another movie from that era, which I would recommend, is Inner Space.
Yeah. That
Joe
gets kind of
Dante
lost
and
these days.
It is like that's one of those movies. I remember when it came out, because I was 87. It was like, the marketing and everything was kind of everywhere, but it's weird how it just kind of dropped down the memory hole.
Yeah. I've said this before, but that was the first movie I ever remember seeing letterboxed.
Oh, how funny!
It was on VHS. I was probably 10 years old, but I was like, why are those bars there? And I wanted to know. And I remember going back to the video store and reading the back of the box, and it talked about preserving the picture, and I think it might have even had a little diagram. And it created a little movie snob at 10 years old right then. I was like, every film must be letterboxed now.
Isn't that funny? Because I feel like I had a very similar experience early on with letterboxing, where like once I figured out what it was, I was very snooty about it.
Yeah.
And again, I was like 12, 13 maybe.
Yeah.
No, they're cutting off the sides, okay?
Yeah.
I'm amazed I did not get beat up more as a kid.
Well, it's funny
Really.
because then DVDs and Blu-rays fixed all that. However, we can still complain because now they're lopping off Seinfeld and Simpsons and Friends reruns. So
Yeah, they're cutting off the sides.
they're still cutting. Now they're cutting off the tops and bottoms.
Yeah, you can't win.
Can't win. But wait, tell me
But
about
yeah.
the movie. Did you watch it with the family or?
I haven't watched it with the kids yet. I want to, but I was sort of going through it, and I was like, man, this is good. Like it's our next family movie night.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm going through the Jurassics with the boys.
Oh, cool.
So we've gone through the original 3 movies, and we've got Jurassic World, and then I figure our next. It's funny because the boys are at this place now where they pick the next big rewatch. They're like, okay, well, this is the next series that we need to go through. Like they're sort of in the driver's seat now,
Oh, that's cool.
which is nice. But one thing I've been watching recently is a series that's on AMC. It's called James Cameron's Story of Science Fiction.
Yeah, tell me about this. I know it exists. That's about it.
This is like a Brian Hall made to order kind of show. because essentially every episode focuses on a specific genre within science fiction. So, for example, space and monsters and time travel, etc. And it's just Jim Cameron sitting at a table talking to, George Lucas and Guillermo del Toro and Ridley Scott and Steven Spielberg. Just one-on-one conversations about their seminal films related to the topic of this episode. And in addition to these filmmakers, it's also interviews with, college professors and authors, etc. But it's rife with clips from these films and sort of analysis and everything else. And so I've been watching the series with my oldest son, who, you know him. He's kind of into this stuff. And it's exactly the kind of thing that if I was 11, I would have just been inhaling it. Because it's so up my alley, But even now, these are movies that we know front, back, and sideways. We know the tropes of these genres and stuff, and yet to hear these filmmakers talk about it, it's absolutely fantastic.
Man, it's funny when you mention that for your son and how he's devouring it. It reminds me of those. PBS would always have these documentaries about the making of Star Wars.
Yeah,
and when it gets into the nuts and bolts of things, and that completely not only riveted me as a kid, but I think that set my path. So
I remember growing up in Saudi Arabia, there was a show that they used to air there called That's Hollywood. And it was a Fox produced show about the making of Fox movies. So it was like a glorified EPK basically. And it was narrated by Tom Bosley. I remember that was the first time I ever that was how I knew Tom Bosley.
Yeah.
Was from that. So like when I saw Happy Days, I was like, oh, like that's Hollywood guy. But anyway, so that show, I remember being a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old, and watching it, and they had a little thing about Planet of the Apes, and that was the first time I ever heard of Planet of the Apes, and so my love of that movie is directly from that show. That's Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's all the making of and the makeup and everything. And I remember they had one episode about The Empire Strikes Back, and Tom Bosley was like, and here to explain how they made the Snow Walkers, here's Mark Hamill. Mark? And then it's like Mark Hamill's narration, like, oh, and they did the this, and they put the powder, and it's the whole making of the snow battle.
I want to watch that now.
I know, isn't that funny? Yeah. And it's weird because I feel like you have to be a specific kind of kid to watch that kind of stuff. But I know you and I both, this is like a shared love of just from the time we were young. It's like, I want to know how they did it. How did the thing that I like become the thing that I like?
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of a funny thing. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, so the show's on AMC, so check that out if you can. But what were you saying, Brian?
Well, I was going to say, isn't that kind of a funny thing? Because when I was a kid, related to that, like I listened to movie soundtracks and things of that nature, and no one else I was friends with did that, and you always think you're the only one. And then it's funny when you grow up and then you find your people and they watch the same specials and remember them and listen to the same scores and whatnot, and it's kind of a fun thing growing up and finding your people.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And doing a podcast.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, I saw a couple of new releases, one that is out right now and one that will be out next week. Ocean's 8 is in theaters right now. And it is tracking to be the highest opening weekend in the entire Ocean's franchise. So that says something. And this is the sequel to the previous trilogy, this time focusing on a group of women robbers fronted by Debbie Ocean, played by Sandra Bullock. And in addition, you've got Cate Blanchett and who else is in the cast? Awkwafina, who I had never heard of before this. This is how out of touch I am. But Rihanna, Helena Bonham Carter, Sarah Paulson, not Sarah Pauli, and Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
And this was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool. That's all I needed. I was like, I need someone to tell me to be interested in it because I like the Ocean films, and I feel like I've seen 3 of them. I'm like, do I need to see 4? And so that's all I wanted to know. Is it fun?
And Brian, to be fair, you don't.
Sure.
But arguably, you didn't need to see 3 either.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy watching a 4th is more like it.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think this is the definition of low risk, low reward.
Sure.
I think you go in looking for a fun way to spend a couple hours. You're not going to walk out disappointed. I think the first half is less interesting than the second half because of necessity. We've already seen the get the gang together.
Sure.
So it's a little bit like, all right. But once the caper starts, it's just a lot of fun.
Very cool. Those are the best parts of heist movies. I mean, because they set up an impossible task, and I love sitting back going, I don't know how they're going to do this. And then just find the clever ways that they do. So this movie does deliver on that.
I think it does. And speaking of clever ways, they do find some clever ways to tie it in with the other movies. So this is not a reboot. This is, in fact, a sequel. So I think that's fun. And this just cements my mad crush on Cate Blanchett.
Yeah.
I am just madly in love with Cate Blanchett. That's what I've realized. And I'm okay with that, Brian.
Oh, yeah. And I support it. And I agree with it.
So that's in theaters now, and like I said, I would say it's a good like date night movie. It's definitely going to be a good like girls' night out movie.
Nice.
You know. Also coming out in a couple days is Incredibles 2, the 14 years later sequel to The Incredibles, and the wait was excruciating because this movie is so good.
Wow, that is, and I know people were a little nervous when they announced it because sometimes Pixar sequels don't always, live up to the thing everyone's sort of hoping.
Yeah, well, you've got the polls of Toy Story 2 and Cars 2.
Yeah.
And this is a Toy Story 2.
Oh man, that is. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy to hear that.
You know what Nicolas Cage would say? It's high praise.
Does he say that?
But yeah, I mean, Incredibles. I'm going to do that forever now. I can't stop doing the Nicolas Cage impression. The first Incredibles was a movie that did not need a sequel. Like, had they never made a sequel, I'd have been like, that's totally fine. Why ruin it? And Brad Bird all along had said, I'm not going to do a sequel unless I have an idea for it that warrants it. We're not going to do it just to do it. And so this lives up to that. I mean, it was just what really stood out to me is how it doesn't need to be animated.
Oh, okay.
Like, it feels real,
Huh.
And I think it says something about where the superhero genre is from 2004 to 2014, or 2018, where we've just accepted the tropes. Like that's my point. Like if this was a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, we would just buy it. It doesn't even need to be animated.
I see. Yeah.
And that wasn't the case when The Incredibles 1 came out.
Huh. Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's interesting. And not really that, well, maybe it is. I was going to say the amount of time isn't that extreme, but.
Well, I mean, 14 years ain't nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it. That's your entire school career plus 2 years of college.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to say, yeah, I live in Southern California where time means nothing. So I've sort of lost all sense of it. But yeah, wow. But I mean, I'm really excited. I was eager to see it, but now I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I worry about overhyping it, but I almost feel like I don't think I need to worry about overhyping it. It's just that good.
Man, that's great.
It's just a really good movie. Great performances. Holly Hunter is terrific in this. This is really a focus on Elastigirl. She has a much more prominent role in this one. And of course Craig T. Nelson is good too. The stuff with the baby is just adorable. So funny. And it's just a good movie. And the animation is markedly better than the first one, which was good already.
I don't remember that movie as well as I remember the Toy Stories or the Wall-E's and stuff. So I need to. I have to revisit that before I
would say rewatch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually a daytime screening, and so my second kid, I actually, as a treat for him, I took him out of school early. And took him with me, and then the screening was supposed to be at 1:00, and then there were like technical issues, so it ended up not starting until 3:30.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, of course this happens on the day that I have my kid with me. So
yeah. But did you guys have to sit there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours?
No, they were like, yeah, just come back in like 2 hours.
Wow.
So we were downtown, so we went to like the Lego store. So that kid lucked out. He got a Lego out of the deal.
I'm telling you what, he will remember that for the rest of his life.
Well, I hope so. I hope he doesn't, try to threaten to blink me out of existence anymore.
No.
Maybe this will be the thing. Maybe this is one day,
This is like, Deadpool 2. Not to get spoilers, but this is the day that changes everything.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'll never forget the day my mom took me out of school. It was to see an eclipse, actually, and then we went and got Taco Bell. I remember everything about it. It was so memorable,
Wow.
and I don't know. I feel like it's going to be the same for him.
Well, I hope so,
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, last time some of our listeners had asked us to name guilty pleasure movies, and you whiffed that by saying Adventures in Babysitting, which no one considers a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, everybody loves that movie, and I knew that too. So I'll just do a little countdown to the one I finally hit me like hours after the podcast. But two friends of mine who regular listeners of the show chimed in, and Sharon Neville said that for her it was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and she actively encourages us to do a commentary for it.
Well, we are going to, but Sharon, there's nothing to be guilty about for loving Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That makes you a righteous person.
A righteous person. Did you hear that, Sharon? So then my friend Petra Ford said for her it was A Night at the Roxbury.
Well, you should feel guilty about that, Petra. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I got to keep it real.
And that's it. Yeah, gotta keep it real. And then,
I will say, I love the hell out of that soundtrack. I listen to that all the time.
Yeah, I remember the sketch. I don't remember the movie very, very well. The only thing I remember is that one of them has a crush on a woman from like a call center, like for a credit card company. So he keeps calling and she keeps thinking there's something wrong with his credit card, but he just wants to talk to her. That's the only thing I remember about that movie.
I remember Richard Grieco being in it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I feel like even Richard Grieco was like, is this what my life has come down to?
Yeah. Well, okay, so this brings me to my guilty pleasure that I finally remembered, and let's see where you land on this one. But for me, my guilty pleasure, since I was a boy to this day, is Short Circuit 2.
I knew this about you.
Yeah. I've had it gifted to me at Christmas time by our pal Sean Coyle, and I love this movie. I discovered this before Short Circuit 1, and I fell in love with this robot. And to this day, I when I was at Bob's Burgers, my little avatar on the intra chat or whatever it is for the company was Johnny Five. And my friend Annalise would always be like, "What is that thing? I hate looking at that thing every time you chat me." Because she thought it looked like a bug or something. I was like, "No, it's just like he's alive," But
That's really fun.
I mean, this has a movie. Short Circuit 1 is great, but I really don't have the affinity for it that I do Short Circuit 2, because 2 is like he comes to New York and then he gets tricked into robbing a bank by these thieves, and then they beat him like to hell and he's almost dead. And he comes back and is saved and captures the bad guys, and then at the end he becomes a U.S. citizen. I mean, what's not to love about this movie?
I love the simpler era where you could have Fisher Stevens in brownface doing this comically bad Indian accent, and everybody just kind of is like, yeah, that's a thing that we do.
Okay, so that's not to love. Right after, I was like, what's not to love? Touche. And not even just me going, well, no, not good.
I mean, it's almost like you can just be like, well, that was a thing that was okay back then,
Yeah, and also to his credit, I have appreciated the way that he has responded to that in recent years too, where he's like, yeah, that is not okay.
Yeah, right. To his credit.
Yeah, but I'm truly in love with Johnny Five to this day, and it's one of those things I've said that when I become crazy wealthy, the two stupid things I'm going to buy, because I'd like to think I'd be smart with my money, but the two stupid things I'm going to buy is a decked out DeLorean and Johnny Five.
Well, there we go.
So.
And Short Circuit 2, by the way, directed by Kenneth Johnson, who is responsible for many of the TV shows that I absolutely love. He created the Incredible Hulk TV series. He created V, the Alien Visitors. He also created the Alien Nation TV series.
Alien Nation, man, I remember those ads, and they used to kind of creep me out as a kid. I never watched it.
It's a good show. I mean, it's a metaphor for any kind of new sort of cultural or ethnic group having to assimilate. You know, and at times the metaphor is pretty on the nose, but I don't think that's not a bad thing, because I think it's something we can always helpfully be reminded about is our propensity to be terrible to people who we don't know just because they're different. You know?
Right. Could be right for a remake. That's a free one.
I'm actually surprised nobody's done anything with that, because it is just kind of sitting there. And, it was a movie before it was a TV series.
Right.
It starred James Caan and Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah.
And it was just like Lethal Alien, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the pitch. It's Lethal Weapon with an alien, basically,
Yeah.
right? It's like Bright,
Yeah. Oh, okay. There you go.
Right.
Wow. Maybe they did do it.
Yeah, but I think Alien Nation, I think the movie did it better than Bright.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most things, I was in the bathroom this morning and I did something that was better than Bright. So, anyway.
Yep.
And they're making a sequel to Bright, by the way. So
Yeah. And that was
don't
before
know.
it even debuted, wasn't it? They
was
announced
it?
that?
Oh,
I could-
you're right. You're right. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
A little bit presumptuous, if you ask me.
Yeah. You know what though? Hey, I'm probably gonna watch it. So
Yeah.
way to go.
Now, one more letter here, and this is from our listener Federica, who had a quite involved comment about our again the Attack of the Clones commentary, and I just wanted to share this. She says, "Hi fellas, I'm about to fangirl to death, but I felt like I had to. It was just too good." I'll tell you, this note that she wrote, I'm gonna pin it up on my wall, and just whenever I feel shitty about my life,
Right.
I'm just gonna read this. Be like, you know what? It's okay, man. Life is worth living.
This is your Homer Simpson do it for her.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This commentary might be my favorite episode of Movie Film Podcast so far. I was laughing so hard the entire time. Brian, you know how I feel about this movie, which is why, Zachy, your comment that this podcast was you writing a better version of the movie in your head was so apt. Seriously. The highlights of the episode, Zachy, regarding clunky callbacks. Anakin, you're going to be the death of me. Waka waka.
That was great.
Seriously, dude. Ugh. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
Brian, regarding the sand speech, there's the line. It's such a bad joke, but in my head I completed it with, in the sand, that Lucas shouldn't have crossed regarding the dialogue in this movie. Oh, man, seriously. This is something that I wonder if it's just Lucas's inability to write a genuine romance, or was he trying to be deliberately terrible with it?
I mean, you have to assume he thought he was writing something.
That was lovely and wonderful.
Well, yeah. It felt sweeping, and I don't know.
And it says, both of you, I've made my peace with this movie, they say, right before they tear the next scene to shreds, and Zachy's blood audibly boils. It did audibly boil, that's true. Zachy, anytime you said "m'lady,"
Yeah.
and I agree with Brian, you have to make your own cut of the movie where you're doing all the voices, please.
Dude, that was really good. M'lady.
Excuse me, m'lady. Jeez. And then at that point, she's like, I've been dying a little bit every day since you came in. The way you say m'lady. Right? It says, that's all, folks. Thank you for making my Tuesday, but felt like a Monday, tolerable. Keep being awesome. Oh
man, that means a lot.
That was just a nice kind of note to get. And this is a letter from, let's see, Sion Coyle? Sean Coyle. Sean.
Wow, I didn't even see that coming.
Yeah, see, that's good. See, Sean Coyle, who is a longtime listener and former co-host of the show. I don't know if you knew that, Brian, but he was on the show with us for a few years.
Yeah, I seem to recall that.
That was a thing that happened. So he says, hi, Brian and Zachy. Great episode as always. You nailed my bittersweet feelings towards Solo when comparing it to movies like The Nice Guys. I would say for me, the closest comparison would be the A-Team movie from 2010, a brilliantly executed romp that thing I love from Days Gone By, that certainly warrants more fun-filled adventures to be had. Unfortunately, the box office gods have spoken, and the odds of that happening are slim. And yeah, we'll be talking a little bit more later in the episode about Solo being a no-go. Two things. First, do you feel that the character of Han Solo being so iconic to the original trilogy factored into its lackluster box office performance? Younger generations who grew up with the prequels and with the current era, 7, 8, and eventually 9, really have no frame of reference or attachment to the character like people of our generation do. You could argue that a Han Solo movie would be like making a Legolas, a Lord of the Rings adventure, or Marcus Brody, an Indiana Jones story, or Doc, a Back to the Future tale. Perhaps Disney was banking too much on the simple inclusion of the word star and wars in the title and set their expectations too high. Well, let's come back to that in just a second. But he also says, second, working my way through the Attack of the Clones commentary, hilariously insightful. Do you think it's possible that Anakin's awkwardly creepy dialogue... Oh, this is his theory. Anakin's awkwardly creepy dialogue towards Padme was actually what George Lucas wishes he had the nerve to say to Natalie Portman.
Oh, man, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, that's that's like that. Remember I told you about how like they had the comic book where Professor X was like creeping on Jean Grey. I think I mentioned that once. In one of our that's weird. Either way, can we please hear Zachy playing the part of George Lucas, wishing he could tell Portman that he had a dream about her and they had a forbidden kiss and something about sand.
That would be kind of funny if you saw that in the behind the scenes and you saw him directing Hayden Christensen, and you see that he is doing the Anakin performance we see, and Hayden's like, "All right,
say it more like this."
right.
And he's just exactly saying it the same way.
Yeah.
What was that line? I wish I'm haunted by the kiss I wasn't supposed to give you. Or something
I wish you'd never given me, or something like that.
Ugh, God. Like how the what? If I can find the dialogue, I'll say that, but I'd rather not because it's terrible.
Right.
Let me see if I can find that. Actually, I'm haunted by the kiss. Let's see.
I'm haunted by the kiss.
From the moment I met you all those years ago, not a day's gone by when I haven't thought of you. Now that I'm with you again, Natalie, I'm in agony. The closer I get, this is friggin' terrible. It's hard enough to hear when you're reading it. Oh my gosh. I mean, he wrote this. He's like, nobody was like, yeah, George, yeah,
Right.
The closer I get to you, the worse it gets. The thought of not being with you, I can't breathe. I'm haunted by the kiss that you should never have given me. My heart is beating, hoping that kiss will not become a scar. You're in my very soul, tormenting me. What can I do? I'll do anything you ask. If you are suffering as much as I am, please tell me. And that was how they made Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what George Lucas said to Steven Spielberg.
You became someone else for like a little bit there. That's pretty good. I was about to be like, cut, print.
And cut.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I need to take a little break after that, Brian. So
Yeah.
why don't we take a break and we'll come back right after this.
Cool.
And we're back, and we have a couple trailers to discuss before we get into some headlines. So, Brian, up first we have a movie that looks kind of okay, I think.
Yeah, are you talking about Bumblebee, the biopic of Bumblebee Man from The Simpsons?
I would watch that too.
Me too.
So this is Bumblebee, aka Transformers 6.
Yeah, spin-off, whatever. I don't know what you exactly call it. Or a prequel? It's a prequel, right? It takes place in the 80s.
Well, it's a prequel / reboot.
Yes.
It seems like they're doing kind of an X-Men First Class with this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why don't we play some of the audio from this, and we'll come back.
Sure.
Who are you? Do you speak? I won't hurt you. What's your name?
So here we go. This is the premise of Bumblebee is on the run in the year 1987. 1987, Brian. 31 years ago.
I don't remember it at all. I do.
Bumblebee finds refuge in a junkyard in a small Californian beach town. Charlie, on the cusp of turning 18 and trying to find her place in the world, discovers Bumblebee battle-scarred and broken, and hilarity ensues. This is directed by Travis Knight, who did Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, which I know before we saw anything from this, I think gave people some hope. Because
That was me. That was my one and only sense of like, hey.
Yeah, because aside from the animated film in the 80s, I mean, every single Transformers live-action thing we've seen has been from Michael Bay to, varying degrees of fan pleasure.
Yeah, that's right. So this stars Haley Steinfeld as the lead character, and Martin Short is in it. Pamela Adlon from I think she was on that show Lucky Louie with Louis C.K. And John Cena as agent guy, I guess.
Yeah,
But
agent guy.
I mean, I don't know. He's some government dude, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But weirdly, I'm like, John Cena, cool. Which I didn't think that would be part of my repertoire of reactions to things.
Yeah. No, he's really proven himself to be a really sort of like The Rock in a way, where
I
you're
was
just
about to
like,
say.
yeah, you brighten when you see him. You're like, I like this guy.
I like this guy, exactly. Yeah. So that's interesting. But what surprised me more than anything is that the trailer ended, and I'm like, I think I want to see this. Which
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
not a reaction I am used to having from Transformers. Usually, a Transformers trailer comes out, and before it starts, you're like, and then it ends, you're like, well, I guess I have to watch that.
Yeah.
And a little tear rolls down your cheek, and then you get on with your day. That didn't happen with this. I was like, hey, this looks really good. Could be something kind of fun. I mean, it looks very sort of Iron Giant-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And little things. I mean, obviously, I'm a big fan of the original version of Transformers. Bumblebee looks like his original self in his car form, anyway, where he's a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah. This is before he had his little laser thing, right? Like scan a car and then he can change.
No, but in the first movie, he's a Mustang even before he has he's like a shitty beat up Mustang.
Right.
Right, because that was the deal. Like they made a deal with I don't know what company makes Ford. Right, it's Ford. They made a deal with Ford or Chevrolet or some such thing.
That's cool. Well, it's funny. Yeah, I watched this trailer out of obligation, and when it was over, I was like, "Oh shoot, I kind of want to see that." It looks pretty good. And then I saw your reaction later on Facebook or something like that, where you said, this looks not bad or something like that. And it really looks like what they were aiming for with the first one, or at least so they say. Like a boy in his car. This is like a girl in her car. Yeah, and in the best way. I mean, almost not at all like this, but sort of like in the spirit of E.T., where a person in the real world has a remarkable character enter their lives, and it's really about them. And I'm sure action and chaos will ensue, but it looks like it really is. About a
smaller
relationship,
scale,
and it looks like a relationship from movies that I enjoyed watching when I was a kid.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and if you watch the trailer, you can see the character Starscream, who is a Decepticon, and we've seen him in previous movies, but he's been sort of a typical Michael Bay, just greebly covered piece of nonsense, Right. Whereas in this, it looks like the Starscream from the toys in the cartoon show, which is cause for optimism. Speaking of optimism, I can't make that segue, but Optimus Prime is in this in some capacity, because Peter Cullen, who does his voice, is listed in the credits. I don't know if it's going to be a big role or a small role, but what's interesting to me is that I want to say the head of Hasbro was at like BotCon or some. There's like a Transformers convention that happens every year, which I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
But hey, that's a thing. But basically, they are approaching this as a reboot of sorts. What they've said is it's an alternate timeline from the other movies, but if this does well, they're just going to follow this trajectory.
That's cool. I mean, they've after 6 films or whatever the heck it is, like, why not?
Yeah, and I think it's smart. I mean, this is something that you and I have said previously, that it's not like the premise of the franchise is necessarily broken. It's just, let's get somebody else in here and let's get a different perspective. I think we've seen everything Michael Bay has to give. Mm-hmm. And like or dislike it, this is not going to be another like, oh, let's just shit on him. But it's like, clearly he's left it all on the field. I don't think he would agree. I don't think he really has much more to say with it.
Right. So yeah, looking forward to seeing another voice with these characters. It'll be
Another voice, yeah, Travis Knight, who is, I would imagine, this is something we've talked about before, where what we really need is somebody who grew up with it.
right.
And Travis Knight was born in '73, so I feel like he would have been right there in that, roughly in that age range. He's probably around 10 when Transformers first blew up, and he would have that perspective versus Michael Bay being like, well, this is what I'm being paid to do, and I'm going to turn it into something that I'm comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Right, which has been our recurring complaint about this.
Yeah, and funny enough, I actually just last night watched that little documentary series on Netflix, The Toys That Made Us.
Yes.
And they have I've mentioned it before. I really enjoyed it. I think there was 4 episodes for season 1. And our pal Michael Olson recommended it to me. And I think you might have also.
I have.
And
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, they go into Star Wars toys and Barbie. And each episode is interesting in its own way. You get to these iconic things we all grew up with and know, but to hear the stories. And they actually have the people who were there involved recalling their experiences with this. And I watched the Transformers one last night. And it was pretty interesting.
I would imagine it was instructive for you. I haven't seen that episode yet, but you being somebody who admittedly didn't have the affinity for Transformers, certainly that I did.
Yeah.
Growing up, I mean, I would imagine it was kind of a new experience for you.
Yeah, it was. I'm like familiar with it a little bit, standing on the outside, and I had 1 or 2 of them, and I remember playing with them. But yeah, I never really watched the series, and it was kind of cool because you see what the inspiration. I won't, spoil it or anything, but like the inspirations for how they got to creating the toys. But what's been fascinating about this, and then it was also with the G.I. Joe episode and the He-Man episode, actually, especially. They're like, a story has to support these toys. Like, kids don't care about a thing that they don't know how to play with it. And it was pretty cool to learn where that all started. And they actually speak to the people in both those, the He-Man one and the Transformers one. They speak to the people who created those stories, and it's kind of cool to see that. And then they show, of course, like kids playing with them in the commercials, and you're like, wow, it's just some dude in an office was like, Cybertron, and
Yeah, isn't that funny?
and then now here we are, people passionately still going to these films about those stories, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about that show. Really, is, I mean, it's really, it plugs right into your nostalgia veins, and I mean the Toys That Made Us, and it really gives new insight into how this stuff happens, you know. But so Bumblebee comes out this November,
Or I think December 21st.
Oh, okay. There you go.
On IMDb,
in what would have been the Star Wars slot. Way to go, Disney! You really whiffed that one. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, again, this might be another low risk, low reward thing. I'm certainly not going into the theater expecting the sun and the moon.
Right.
But I'm optimistic, which I didn't think would be the case a year ago when this movie was announced.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Another movie that, honestly, this trailer kind of knocked me on my ass a little bit is First Man. And this is about Caveman Ugg and how he invented the wheel. No, this is Damien Chazelle's project starring Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. Mm-hmm. And I know Buzz Aldrin is patiently waiting for Second Man.
Right.
The sequel that he's calmly hoping that happens. But here, let's play some of the audio from this.
We've chosen a job so difficult, requiring so many technological developments. We're going to have to start from scratch. Only after we master these tasks do we consider trying to land on the moon.
Neil, if this flight is successful, you'll go down in history. What kind of thoughts do you have about that?
We're planning on the flight being successful.
So Brian, I don't know. I'm kind of just like a sucker for these movies.
Oh, for sure. Same.
Like a movie like this, I guess I should say.
Yeah, these historical dramas, like rarely am I not excited about them.
I mean, give me the right stuff. Give me Apollo 13. Give me that From the Earth to the Moon, that HBO miniseries. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm it's just that stuff just has my number.
Yeah, for sure. And with that in mind, I mean, just hearing the announcement of this movie, we were already interested. But this trailer, fortunately, I felt like set me up for like, oh wow, this is. I thought it didn't look stock. It didn't look like a stock biopic. Like it actually looked like it had some style and some tone that I was not actually expecting. It felt sort of, I don't know what's the word, not nostalgic, but it felt pretty serious.
Yes.
Which
it's interesting because Damien Chazelle is, I mean, he's like a kid, you know?
Yeah.
I've sat and chatted with him, and he's extraordinarily talented, and he's really got a vision for how to make movies. But what struck me watching the trailer was like, it's like this is nothing of this is his own experience, and yet he captures sort of the nuances of the era in a really interesting way. I just found that sort of interesting.
Yeah, and I also didn't quite know what to expect from him because, for people who don't know, I mean, his last movie was La La Land, and the movie before that was Whiplash, and I loved both actually. And whereas, I mean, obviously, La La Land being sort of a whimsical musical, I just didn't know. I didn't know what this movie was going to look like from him, and I thought it was cool how different it looked. I mean, it just shows he's got a lot of tools in his tool belt.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart that he brought Gosling back. Obviously, they had a good relationship making La La Land, but I don't know. I'm excited. When does this one come out?
October 12th.
There we go. Quintessential fall movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Looking forward to it.
So First Man. That's First Man and Bumblebee. We got two trailers that something to be optimistic about.
Yeah.
I'd mentioned that they dropped the trailer for the new Halloween movie.
Yeah.
And people are kind of losing their minds over it online.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're wrong, just to be clear, but I think this just goes to my really lack of familiarity with those movies. I'm just like, it looks like another Halloween movie.
Yeah, I had the exact same reaction. And again, I feel bad for the people right now who are like, how dare you? But
yeah, and this is not in any way being critical of them, because if you're a fan, I guess there's a lot to be excited about. But it's like, no, you don't get it. This one, it ignores all the other sequels, and it's just a sequel to the first one. I'm like, yeah, but wasn't that the one 20 years ago? Didn't they do that already?
Right. Right. Well,
right,
isn't it funny, like being outside of certain fandoms? Because I think you and I usually are in most of the ones, like the big sort of event movie things. But every now and then, one will like elude us, and it's kind of interesting to be on the outside of it and watch people. And I'm happy for them. I hope it delivers.
Yeah. Not in any way mocking that, but I do. I mean, that my recollection is that Halloween H20 came out in '98. You remember that?
It's funny when you say it that way. I'm always. Every single time I see that title, I'm like, Halloween H2O. Oh, that's not what that is it?
No, because it was the 20th anniversary. Like now, this is the 40th anniversary of the original one, right?
Wow.
But that was the 20th, right? And they brought back Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're like, yeah, all the other sequels didn't happen. This is the sequel to the first one, and then it seems like this is doing the same thing. So I'm like, it seems like 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards here, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then who knows? To them, they might feel the same way about me and my excitement for the next Terminator film. We're like, Brian, haven't you learned?
Yeah, haven't we been down this road already? Yeah, it's true.
But they're ignoring the sequels,
That's right.
Yeah.
So really, I don't have much to say about that, but I hope that the fans who are excited have something that measures up to their excitement.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair, right?
That's fair.
I think we've covered our bases.
I'll sign off on that.
We do have some headlines, though, Brian. Some sad news just to start things off. Anthony Bourdain passed away.
Yeah.
Kind of out of nowhere. I mean, apparently he'd been struggling with depression for a long time. He took his own life. He was 61 years old.
Man, yeah.
This is one of those weird things where, because I wake up in the morning and I check my phone and I get like push notifications of headlines and stuff. It says Anthony Bourdain dead at 61. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
because whenever you saw him, I mean, I don't know if you watched his shows. I can't say I watched his shows religiously, but I always enjoyed what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Parts Unknown, things like that. He just seemed so sort of full of life. I mean, that as cliched as that sounds.
Yeah, embarrassed to admit, but I will admit, I really am not familiar with him. I know who he is, and I know that people really liked his show, and he seemed to also sort of transcend the role of just famous host or chef or all those other things. I mean, he seemed to be someone that people really, really loved, and I was. I have to say, I mean, I was surprised actually when I was going through Instagram and all those sorts of things yesterday. It was just every single post was just this outpouring of, love and sadness over him, and it made me like, man, I missed something. Like I missed, and I regret it, and I want. It made me be like, I have to go look up these shows. Like I'm going to be that guy now this time who buys the album after the lead singer, passes kind of
right.
thing. But I'm happy to do it because it seems like, obviously he made a huge impression on so many people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you remember, he had a small bit, like a cameo in The Big Short, where they brought him in as one of the celebrity explainers.
Yes.
Of how like CDOs work,
Yeah, I forgot about
And I remember seeing that and being like, that's a cool thing to do,
Yeah.
But even beyond that, last year, we had an interview with Jeremiah Tower on this show, who's the first celebrity chef, and they made a documentary about him. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
A little over a year ago, and that documentary got made because of Anthony Bourdain. Because Anthony Bourdain was like, this is a guy who should be more well known, and it's like Anthony Bourdain essentially saying like, I owe my career to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of put his name on this documentary to put it out there. So that says something about sort of his character, where it was always about sort of giving homage to people who maybe have been unsung.
Yeah, man, yeah. I'm eager, honestly, to catch up on all this and sort of.
Yeah.
It just seems like his show really. I mean, it wasn't just about food. I mean, it was about people and culture and other parts of the world that most of us will never get to visit. And I just, as I was, reading and learning about all this, and I was just like, man, that sounds like such a remarkable thing to put out there. And I'm, like I said, I'm eager to catch up on it.
Yeah. I think you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Other news, and this is kind of a left turn, but this is a show, Brian, that you and I did not expect to like as much as we did, and so the fact that there is drama related to this show feels like, well, we must discuss this, and I'm talking about Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, what a bizarre little episode this has been.
What the hell? Yeah, so now this is all broken over the course of the last month, and it's been so long since we've talked about this. I feel like if we were doing if we had, hadn't had technical delays, we would have had this would have been like a miniseries, because we would have had different parts of this story.
Right.
Like, oh, and this has happened. So now we're sort of looking at it in toto. And essentially, Lethal Weapon has lost Martin Riggs.
Yeah, which is just crazy because, we were so hesitant about the show when it was announced, and how could they possibly recast these people? There's no way it could work, and then it did, and we really enjoyed it, and we thought the casting was great. We were both really into it, and then to have that, what should have never work, and then to have this go down.
So essentially, I mean, the whole hook of Lethal Weapon is you have these bickering partners, Riggs and Murtaugh, who act like they hate each other, but we know how much they actually love each other.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's a bromance for the ages. Well, it turns out the dirty little secret of the Lethal Weapon TV series was that Riggs and Murtaugh, in fact, hated each other.
Right.
Clayne Crawford as Riggs and Damon Wayans as Roger Murtaugh, they couldn't stand each other.
Yeah.
And so essentially things reached a boiling point late last season when apparently Clayne Crawford was directing an episode where a stunt happened and Damon Wayans was injured, and essentially Damon Wayans was like, well, I'm not showing up. I'm not going to be part of an unsafe set. And Clayne Crawford called him a pussy. And that was the high point of their interactions.
Right.
Because it quickly de-escalated from there, or escalated, excuse me. It went downhill, but escalated.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is Clayne Crawford gets fired,
mm-hmm.
and he's replaced now by Sean William Scott.
Yeah, apparently not playing the same character, right?
So Riggs I mean, should we say this? I mean, as far as what happens with his character,
He's left in a way where you could not return to him.
He's left in a way where if he did come back, he'd be like, okay, but it's not unreasonable to just say, well, we're not going to see Martin Riggs anymore.
Right.
There we go. Right. That's
fair.
So Sean William Scott will now be, I don't know, Skippy Riggs. I don't know.
Dude, yeah, that one's free, guys. Lethal Weapon writers.
I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be a Riggs.
Yeah, you got to assume.
Right?
He's a type for sure. You know, I mean, you could see him being related.
Yeah, and I mean, I would imagine. I mean, Riggs. It's Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yeah. Right.
You can't be like, oh, it's Murtaugh and Kowalski or something. You know,
Right.
it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So he's gonna. So they're just moving forward, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I get it, but I don't get it.
Yeah. But I mean, also, it's one of those things. Sometimes you just have to, there's nothing you can do about real life, right? So you just gotta.
Yeah, I mean,
they're doing what they can.
Clayne Crawford. Bear in mind, we had him on our show a little over a year ago, and I mean, he was great. He was a great interview. Mm-hmm. Really nice, very funny. And so this surprised the heck out of me. And then Variety did like a deep dive into everything that was going on, and it seems like people aren't really fans of either of them too.
Yeah, and that just sucks, right? I mean, to have a contentious workplace.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the sense that Damon Wayans was not a Clayne Crawford fan. He was not a signatory to the Clayne Crawford fan club.
Yeah.
However, people talk about Damon Wayans, and they're like, he doesn't want to be there. He's just like, wake me up when we're filming. Like, don't bother me. And somebody said Clayne Crawford was aggressive, and Damon Wayans was passive-aggressive. And I'm like, God, can you imagine just being like a grip or whatever on the set, and you're just trying to get through your day?
Yeah, or like an AD. Or like a second AD or something where you just have to like handle them all day and make sure they're where they're supposed to be. That would be so like unpleasant.
Well, and as somebody who's worked on sets, I mean, I'm sure you can appreciate why they brought the show back even with this problem.
Oh, sure. I mean, well, it's how many shows become hits these days, especially on network television. I mean, it's rare, and that's why they keep bringing back all these old shows. So yeah, I can imagine over at Fox, they're like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
Like, how are you gonna ruin a good thing?
Yeah,
and so I mean, and all the coverage has even said, like, Lethal Weapon is not like a monster hit; it's like a decent hit.
Mm-hmm.
But even a decent hit is worth saving, and I would imagine one of the calculations was, well, there's so many jobs on the line too.
Yeah.
Right, because potentially, Clayne Crawford leaving and then the whole show getting canceled as a result of that, it's like that almost seems unfair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's connective tissue to the thing that happened with Roseanne, which was a hit for like 9 weeks, and then she tweeted something, and ABC just canceled the show.
Yeah, and then it's easy to be like, well, yeah, of course, and just, or like when a show you're like, this show annoys me, and then it gets canceled, and you're like, good. I mean, I'm guilty of that sometimes, but then, yeah, you there's also the reality of that this is like hundreds of jobs, and it's
I mean, the fact that Roseanne got canceled, like, she tweeted some racist bullshit.
Yeah.
And then, like,
unforgivable stuff. Yes.
It really, like, stuff where you're like, why would you, what's wrong with you, you know? And she's like, well, the Ambien made me racist. And then Ambien literally put out a tweet, like, Ambien doesn't make you racist.
Yeah.
Which, that's the age we live in now.
Right.
Where that kind of thing happens. But, I mean, I want to say it was like 2 hours from tweet to cancellation.
Yeah.
Which, like, when does that happen?
I know.
Right? And so my thought was, well, like, there's 200 people potentially who are out of work now.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that. And not to say the show shouldn't have been canceled, but it's like, it's these are people's livelihoods. They were expecting the show to come back. They're like, oh, I'm going to be employed for the next year or whatever it is.
Yeah, giving up other jobs because they thought they had a job.
Right? So, although I heard, I guess what they want to do, like a Hogan family type thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, like, oh, Roseanne had knee surgery and died. Anyway,
right.
I don't know what you do. But it's a shame, too, because I feel like John Goodman Because if you remember, John Goodman left Roseanne early. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He'd kind of had enough of it. He'd had enough of the drama, and then it took 20 years or whatever for them to kind of get him to come back, and then like right away, he's probably like, "Oh yeah, this is why I left."
Yeah.
You know. But that's a TBD as far as Roseanne. But Lethal Weapon, I don't know. I'm curious. What do you think, Sean William Scott? Are you interested in watching it with him?
I'll give it a shot because that was one of those shows. I know you guys and my brother and regular watchers. I kind of went in and out of it for season 2.
That was me too, to be honest.
Okay, and a lot of it had to do with just time. Like I just didn't have time and whatnot.
Yeah, it wasn't the show. It's just life.
Yeah, but then, so it builds up in your DVR and you're like, ugh. But then I was like, I'll just watch the most recent one, and I almost always found myself like, oh yeah, that's why I watched this. I enjoy this.
Right.
So it had this consistency that was pretty great, and I don't know. So good writers, good filmmakers over there. Like I'm willing to believe they could keep it going.
It's gonna be weird though. Like I'm wondering how. I'm sure they're hoping that at some point we just forget that Sean William Scott is playing a different guy.
And just have the types.
Again. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Riggs, and okay, that's Riggs.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about how Disney acted swiftly when it came to Roseanne. I feel like they didn't act quite as swiftly when it comes to John Lasseter.
That's been interesting, hasn't it? I mean, they weren't even. Whereas, yeah, everyone was getting when the Me Too thing was really at its peak, and it was people things were coming out to like, okay, well this guy's gone and this person's gone, and John Lasseter, they're like, he's going away for a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll see if you think about it again in a couple months. Like they were really hesitant to.
It was So Lasseter was accused of inappropriateness, shall we say?
Yep.
And the assumption was that he was going to be out on his ass, but yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, he's taking a leave of absence, and maybe you'll forget about it. But it's been announced now that he is leaving Disney. I think by the end of the year, they're saying.
Yep. Which
still feels like too long to me.
I wonder what that is about. Obviously, there's a reason. So, I mean, is it tying up loose ends? I mean, he's working on Toy Story. Well, he was co-directing Toy Story 4.
But that got undone pretty quickly, as I recall.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting when they announced the whole sabbatical thing, because I was thinking you're going to have to revisit this, and in this day and age, like it's not going to happen, to the sides where no one notices. So I was curious how they were going to eventually resolve this.
Yeah, and obviously when you're the co-founder of Pixar, Disney owes you a lot.
Yeah, so. I mean that's the tragedy of this, right? I mean, he's a remarkably talented person, and he's responsible for. I mean, you're talking about, Incredibles 2 being this amazing sequel, and I mean, their output over there is game changing, and so it's heartbreaking to hear that one of the people who is indisputably talented, but
is also kind of a garbage person.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, well, unfortunately, there's too many people like that.
Yep.
But I mean, it occurs to me that we're talking about how there was sort of like the peak of Me Too, and it almost feels like that's like cooling off now.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're not hearing as much, and I mean, hopefully, the stories that need to get out will continue to get out, but hopefully, some things have been cleaned up a little bit, and then it sort of also extends itself to what we were just talking about, the Lethal Weapon 2, where people are just being crappy. And it's I don't know. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's a good thing. It's just sort of it's just the beginning, I have a feeling, and eventually, some of that stuff, behavior over time will hopefully change, where we hear this less and less, and those sorts of people aren't allowed to be those sorts of people anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, whether in sexual misconduct as John Lasseter is being alleged, or on Lethal, where it was just, I mean, they released some of those videos where Clayne Crawford is just like going apeshit on people.
Yeah.
And it's weird how, like, because I saw this a lot, like a lot of people like, well, he's an actor and he's in the zone and he's trying to, like, he's just in his space, and you got to just understand that. And it's like, I don't think being an actor should be an excuse to be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not an actor, granted, but that seems like an excuse to me.
Well, it's funny how Christian Bale got excused for similar sorts of
well, but he
outbursts,
fell
right?
on the sword for it.
He did.
I mean, he.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's we shouldn't. I have no opinion on that, but I wasn't there, But,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know, interesting. The turn.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I mean, I get like you're trying to perform and there's external factors or whatever, but I don't know, it just like don't be shitty to people.
Yeah, that's just in life.
That should just be like good marching orders in general. Just be decent,
Yeah.
With that in mind, moving on, here's a story that I'm not sure I'm particularly interested in seeing, and it is the Top Gun sequel that has been threatened. I mean, it's one of those things where we're being told, yes, you're gonna watch this. You want it? Well, I don't really know. You want it?
I really thought this was one of those things that was never going to happen.
Yeah, well, they've been talking about Top Gun 2 forever. Tony Scott obviously was attached initially, and then he took his own life. And the sense that I had, maybe I was just misreading it, but I just assumed that the project went away when he died.
Yeah.
But it is, in fact, filming. They're filming right now. It's directed by Joe Kosinski, who directed Tom Cruise previously in Oblivion.
Mm-hmm. Which I really liked. I talk about that.
I think you liked that one more than me, as I recall.
I liked it more than most. It seems. I remember the night I watched it, and everyone was like, eh. I was like, really? I really enjoyed that.
Like, I thought it was a beautiful, boring movie. That was my...
Yeah. Sometimes I like those sort of slow, deliberate sci-fi.
I mean, it
movies.
is gorgeous. Like, you could watch it on mute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
still get like something really visually scintillating. But admittedly, I haven't revisited. Maybe another view. I own it in like 4K on my Vudu, so I should watch it with that. That's like a 4K movie,
Oh, for sure.
But regardless, so Joe Kosinski is directing Top Gun 2. It is called Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder. We've talked about this, where you have these sequels that come all these years later. Excuse me, with for example, like Dumb and Dumber 2, where you're like, is it as much fun seeing these guys behave this way when they're at the age that they are?
Right.
And you got to wonder. I mean, Hotshot Maverick, young guy, in Top Gun 1. I mean, what's he like now at age 50 or whatever he is?
And do we care? Do we care what he's like?
Yeah, well, and I think not so long ago we would have said, well, if Tom Cruise is doing it, then there's got to be something to this because he doesn't make bad movies. And
that's true.
Since we've had The Mummy,
that's
and,
right. With The Mummy in mind, I'll tell you what I want out of this movie. I want Tom Cruise to be bothered throughout the movie by the decaying ghost of Anthony Edwards.
Yes, yeah.
That's like Maverick is compelled to right some wrong because Goose's head will be at like a 90-degree angle. Right. And every time we see him, he's like more like gross looking.
Right.
If they make that, I want to see it. They can make it like a Mummy 2 Maverick.
Yeah. I'm all in. But
Maverick, 2 Mummy. I don't know, something.
2 Maverick, 2 Mummy.
Right? And by the way, Val Kilmer is back in this as Iceman.
Yeah, I'll be curious what that's going to be like because I know his health hasn't been great lately, but I love the guy and I hope it all works out.
I'm glad to see Val Kilmer in anything.
Yeah.
Because he has kind of disappeared.
Yeah, he hasn't had the ability to speak for a while.
So he's dealing with throat cancer, is that?
I believe so. Yeah, I watched. I got that Heat Blu-ray. That came out a little bit ago, and they did sort of like a Q&A roundtable thing with Christopher Nolan, and I didn't know that he wasn't able to speak as well. And when he started talking, I was surprised, and but it was so cool to see him up there, struggling with speech, but just happy to be there and happy to talk about this film. And so I mean, it's really endearing and. Obviously hoping he gets better soon, but I'll be curious, how he'll play into the sequel.
Yeah, and this is right smack dab in the middle of summer next year. It's July 12th of 2019, which seems presumptuous to me because I don't know if Top Gun 2 is going to appeal to a summer movie audience.
I was going to use the word bold, but yeah, presumptuous, I think, yeah.
Right?
But still though, Mummy notwithstanding, I mean, Tom Cruise takes everything he does very seriously. So there has to be something. We hope it turns out all right, but there's got to be something here that he thinks is worth his time. So I'm curious what that is.
Well, we'll find out. And I'm assuming when the trailer drops, we'll be talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
One last piece of news, and this made me happy. Martin Kove, Brian, is going to be a series regular in the now renewed Cobra Kai, which is coming back for second season.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Kove, of course, he played the embodiment of evil in the original Karate Kid movies.
Yeah,
he was
Kreese, right?
He was Sensei John Kreese. That son of a... I had nightmares about Kreese.
Did you really?
Well, I think I said, well, just the concept of Kreese as like that guy being my gym teacher or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I think I've said before that I've seen Martin Kove at like conventions and doing signings and stuff, and I'm always like scared.
Oh,
even now, as a grown-ass man, I think I can't separate him from his character.
Yeah, no, he has resting "I'm gonna kill you" face.
Yes,
for sure.
But if you know, the tail end of Cobra Kai, which, by the way, the last time we talked, you were like halfway through it.
Yeah, that was one of those things that I had in my document to talk about. My super short summary is, I had last said that for me there were some ups and downs. I didn't find the humor particularly that great, and some of the jokes were great. Let me be clear, but some of the characters that were meant to be humorous characters I didn't find all that funny. Mm-hmm. But by the time I reached so I was sort of like, it's enough for me to keep going, but I wasn't sure how I felt about it. And then by the end of the last episode, I was like, this is great. Like that last episode, if that had been a film and they had truncated it and that had been the end of the movie, I was like, this is reminding me of that satisfying feeling that the original films gave me. So I thought they really, as a whole, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and so it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger where we have Johnny. Well, we're not going to reveal it, but Johnny is at a place where his path is diverging in the woods, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And essentially, Palpatine emerges, essentially, you know?
Yeah.
If we think of him as a metaphorical Anakin Skywalker, Johnny, we've got Satan, Lucifer, and I love his entrance, by the way. It's so perfect.
Yeah,
he emerges out of the shadows, smoking. It's great. And so I love the fact that the show ends, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah, their handling of Johnny, they just completely nailed it. I mean, he could have been this. It was a difficult task to bring that character back and to make him not the good guy, wholly the good guy yet, but someone that you still care about and want to go on a journey with. And I felt like they handled that balance really, really well, all the way through to the end.
Yeah, and I think the fact that, like, because I thought initially when the show was announced that it would be this sort of circus funhouse mirror version of like, oh, see, now we're totally seeing it from Johnny's point of view, and Daniel's just an evil asshole. But it isn't that. That's not the show.
Yeah.
Because what they've done with Daniel is they have carried his journey forward.
Yeah.
In a meaningful way. You know, I think one of the best moments in the entire miniseries is where Daniel is at Miyagi's grave.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying something to the effect of like, I wish you were here. I need you right now, you know, or something to that effect. And it's just genuinely poignant. Like I found myself getting a little misty watching that.
Yeah. And again, when I was halfway through, I wasn't entirely sure I liked what they were doing with him because he had some douchey moments throughout.
Yes.
But
yes.
You have to.
But it's a journey.
It's a journey, and it's an 8-hour movie.
Yes.
And you know, he can't be good the whole time. He has to have an arc, and he isn't a perfect person. And by the end, I thought they did his character well.
Yeah. So that's coming back in I'm assuming a year from now. But Martin Kove will be back regularly as John Kreese, and also dude from Karate Kid 3, whose name I should know. The guy, you know, the guy he fights, the guy Daniel fights.
Man, I forgot. I remember he had a ponytail. That's the only thing I remember.
No, not him. The guy who he fights in the tournament.
In 3?
Yeah, because like the whole thing is that the guy with the ponytail is like training Daniel, but he's like training him to be a Sith, so to speak.
Yeah.
If we keep that metaphor going.
Yeah.
But he's training him to fight this guy.
Man, I don't remember.
Who's just... I mean, you're not missing much from Karate Kid 3. But anyway, the guy who Daniel fights, Mike Barnes is the character's name. I don't remember the actor's name. But he's going to be back in some capacity.
Well, Well, good for him. Now he can
Yeah.
redeem himself a little bit.
Now they got to bring in Hilary Swank
Yeah, why not?
and Michael Ironside and all them other people who were in that shitty fourth movie.
Yeah.
One last bit of news, Brian. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I know how much you loved Jared Leto as the Joker in Suicide Squad. I think you said he made the movie worth it, or he was the best part of the movie, or I didn't know the meaning of life until I saw Jared Leto as a Joker, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Where does he get those wonderful toys? Why so serious? Honka honka. Yeah, I feel like it's they're just nowhere to go but down from here. So
Well, you're gonna love this because Warner Brothers has heard your pleas for more Jared Leto as the Joker, and they've decided to give him his own standalone movie.
okay, do you think this is going to happen?
Let me be very clear about this. I think it will not happen. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That being said, I do find it humorous that they announced it. Because it almost feels like, because remember, like last fall they announced like, oh, we're doing a Joker prequel movie with I think they said Joaquin Phoenix,
And Todd Phillips was going to direct it.
director, right? And Scorsese's involved. Don't you feel like Jared Leto like read that and he called up his agent and yelled at him?
Yeah.
And so, like as a response, Warner Brothers is like, no, but he's getting a Joker movie also. And I'm like, is there a marketplace for one Joker movie, much less multiple Joker movies?
Yeah, I feel like that's do you want to see 2 hours of the Joker? I don't know that I do.
A Joker, to quote you, quoting somebody else, is the spice in the stew.
Yep. Completely agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't get it at all. Because they've even done this in the comics, where like, oh, it's the Joker miniseries, and I'm like, not interested. Thank
Yeah.
you. He's a vile character. My interest in him is purely as the guy who Batman defeats.
Right.
Right, and I love the Joker as a villain, but it's just bizarre to me. It's weird. I think I don't know this, but it seems like what Warner Brothers is trying to do via their DC movies is they're trying to lean really heavily into the villain side, because what I've also read is that they want to do a Legion of Doom movie, which would be all the big villains.
Right.
And I guess I can see the wisdom of going in that direction, because that's not something Marvel has done.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if we're looking at villains, I can see Lex Luthor, not Eisenberg Lex Luthor, but as a concept, Lex Luthor anchoring a movie, and that potentially being interesting.
Sure.
As kind of a Michael Corleone type figure, where you watch him and you almost feel guilty for rooting for him as he does these bad things.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a person. He's not a total sociopath the way the Joker is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
Like I can see Lex Luthor like being like a Scarface type thing.
Yeah.
You know, that could potentially work. But this, I don't know. I for Jared Leto was in Suicide Squad for like 10 minutes maybe total.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I didn't hate it nearly as much as you did, but I'm not going to say it's the best version we've ever gotten of that character.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a fan of it, but also it was interesting in The Dark Knight the way they handled the Joker, where, he goes into these meetings with mob bosses and everyone's like, who is this idiot?
Yeah.
But then he sort of displays who he is, and he is always in charge of the room. And like there was some degrees to him. And
Yes.
And he was underestimated, and then he was in control, and then he wasn't. And the way that he was sort of baffled by Batman even as a concept and like toying with him, and it just didn't get any of that. Like what's his name? Leto. He just seemed like one note, and it was always like
It was one note pitched too high. Yeah, and it felt like Jared Leto was taking the role more seriously than anyone else in the audience was.
wait, how do you mean?
Like it's just the level of like disappearing into the character that he did.
Oh, sure. You mean behind the scenes when he was tormenting the actors?
Yeah, and to right, like all the, which none of that should matter, but that's kind of my point, is there's all the stories about, oh man, he like disappeared into the role, and it's like all I see is Jared Leto like trying to be the Joker.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tricky character because there's the people who become him, like Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, in my opinion, and even Cesar Romero. But then there are also people who are like doing the voice, you know, and I feel like he's a person who's kind of doing the voice.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah. It's funny because there's an article about this movie at a website called Destructoid.com, and I just love the way they sum it up. They're like, let's see, where is it? Yeah. Warner Brothers and DC have been looking for ways to capitalize on Margot Robbie's highly popular Harley Quinn and Jared Leto's, well, not as popular Joker. Now that capitalization will include a standalone Joker film starring and executive produced by Jared Leto, styling by Jared Leto, costume designed by Jared Leto, Jared Leto by Jared Leto.
Right.
Which, again, it just goes back to what I feel like he just called up his agent and yelled at him.
Yeah. And
which I wouldn't blame him for being upset, by the way, because I think that's horse shit for Warner Brothers to be like, you're our guy. You're our Mr. J.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, press releases don't cost you anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
So will the movie get made? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
Yeah, I had the same feeling the moment I read it.
Yes, but we talk about it because it's what we do on this show.
Yep.
So while we take a breather and rest up for our next segment, why don't you listen to this? We're back, and Brian, I hear some music, which I think means we have some Star Wars news.
Oh, I thought it was the recruitment for the Empire ad was playing.
See, we were ahead of the curve on that. Pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
So Solo, a Star Wars story, has flopped spectacularly, Brian.
Yep.
It's flopped even worse than it was flopping when we last talked about it.
Yeah, and you know, as a fan, I was a fan, and it makes me sad.
Well, I think the story has only gotten more dire, where as of now it's looking like it's going to be a push to 200 million domestically.
Yeah. I mean, that is just I know people didn't expect it to perform like the others, but I mean, this is crazy.
What I had said several times was, no matter how Solo does, it's going to be perceived as a disappointment.
Sure.
But it never occurred to me that it would be an actual disappointment.
Well, we said the same thing for Rogue One, knowing that people, you know, were still going to be eager for it, but that still made over $1 billion, didn't it?
Yes, right.
That disappointment that made over $1 billion.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, just to put this in perspective, The Force Awakens, in its opening weekend, made $247 million domestically.
Opening weekend, yeah. So as of now, Solo is at $165 million domestic, and like I said, it may not even make it to 200 million. Wow.
It's a very real possibility based on how it's dropping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not gonna hit 200 million domestically.
Yeah.
I don't know how, because it dropped. It had one of the biggest Friday to Friday drops in history. Right, and then you know, it's dropping by halves again. This is now its third weekend, and it's going to be demolished by Ocean's 8. This is weird because initially I was like, okay, well, the opening weekend, you know, it didn't go so hot, but you know, word of mouth is going to kick in, and people will check it out in the second weekend. Didn't happen.
Yep.
So, what the hell, man?
Yeah, I don't know. What I thought was interesting was a lot of times you'll see, I don't even know, like Star Wars stuff, or like they didn't like one movie or whatever, and then in the comment section when the next one's coming up, people are like, "Oh, wait till Netflix," you know, like,
yeah.
I'm not going, and then the movie, you know, performs gangbusters, and you're like, yeah, sure, like you went, you know, kind of a thing. And
right.
With this one, they actually didn't go, and I was really surprised because a lot of people I spoke to had friends or friends of mine. I know everyone had that sentiment. That to me, that was sort of like a tough shell that people were putting on. But
sure.
I was surprised.
You're like,
to learn,
it's Star Wars. You're gonna go.
Of course, exactly. And I was surprised to learn that a significant amount of people actually didn't go. So I've seen people, blame the script and certain things like that. And I'm like, no, like you have to see the movie to know that you didn't like the script. I mean, it's people just weren't compelled to go, like a large amount of people that normally would have.
So this is where we do our little autopsy. What happened here, man?
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's I'm gonna go with the. I mean, these are obvious, but I think there was too much too soon. And I know people are like, well, that doesn't make sense because people still go to Marvel and still go to whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, but not everything's the same. You know, and I feel like Star Wars movies don't come out several times a year. There aren't 3 Star Wars films a year. I mean, they come out once every other year or something like that. Or
like
once.
We've become conditioned to expect multiple Marvel movies a year. That's part of our routine. And yeah, I mean, when you think about it, our conditioning vis-a-vis Star Wars is every Christmas.
Yes, and their events, and I mentioned that last time. I think it's every Star Wars movie that's come out so far has been an event with a large group of people for me. Then we go to dinner and we all wear our Star Wars shirts, and then we go to the film, and this one just wasn't that case. And I think that was a big part of it. And then I think the second part, again, which is probably obvious, but I mean, I think a lot of people were hesitant to have a beloved character portrayed in a different way by a different person. And they were like, well, either they hated the concept or they're like, well, we'll wait and see. And to me, I think those two things were probably the biggest factors.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
I made the analogy last time to sort of Trump getting elected. And what I mean by that is the reason Trump got elected was not because of just one factor.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this happened where, the James Comey dropped the letter 10 days before, and then that sowed doubt. And Hillary didn't campaign here, and Trump did this, and the voting was down here. Like there was like 5 things. It was like this perfect storm of shitty politics. And then here's what happens, right? And that's what happened with Solo.
Yeah.
Is you had like 5 things that all worked in collision with each other. Right? So number 1, hesitancy about anybody but Harrison Ford being Han Solo. Number 2, it's been not even 6 months since the last one. We're still full from Thanksgiving dinner, and now the next morning we can't have turkey sandwiches.
Yeah.
Right. Number 3, we're used to our December routine. Number 4, they shot the movie twice and drove the budget up to like $300 million. So all of those things together.
Wow. Yeah. Just you saying that out loud, I'm like, wow, I forgot. Like, they shot an expensive blockbuster twice.
Yeah, and they gambled that, well, there's a big enough Star Wars audience that we can do that. Right? Even Marvel, when you think about it, I mean, they fired Edgar Wright, or he left, whatever, way before the movie started filming.
Right.
And I think they just fundamentally miscalculated the entrenched appeal of Star Wars being in the title, like Sean said in that letter earlier. And you and I are both coming from a place where we liked it. I mean, again, I had no real problems with this movie.
Yeah, I really liked it. I've seen it twice, and I really enjoy it. And I don't think it's as complex as some of the others and whatnot, but that's okay. Like you said it so well in our review, where you said that it's the Ant-Man of this series, and I'm completely content, and I don't even feel like I need to apologize for that. I'm like, I enjoy it as that.
That's right, and that was me, where I was like, I'm glad there's room in the franchise for something like this.
Yeah,
that was when I assumed that, well, it'll be another hit, and off we go. So I guess what we're learning is there isn't room in the franchise for a movie like this. Yeah,
and also, I mean, people's reactions to Last Jedi were mixed, and then you have this, and it's not just the story where not everybody showed up, but the people who showed up loved it. I mean, people were mixed on it too. And yes. I've talked to friends of mine who I completely respect their opinions, and we usually share opinions, and they were like, yeah, it was fine. Or
and
they
that
didn't
seems
like it.
to, yeah. And that seems to be the general reaction is mixed to positive.
Yes. And it made me realize, and I touched upon this last time, but making Star Wars for everybody is hard.
Yeah,
you know,
you ain't lying.
like we're all there because we all agree that we love 3 movies. And so that's why we're there. But if you're going to keep going, I mean, you know, we all love different stuff. And if you're going to make 15 new movies, I mean, there's no way everyone's going to agree on 15 movies.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't envy them trying to figure out how to move forward from here.
I think what you're saying is really, really interesting because the idea that, well, we're all here because of our love of 3 movies. I think that's true to a point because I think Star Wars has evolved past that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's now a broad enough brand where there's a percentage of the audience that's there because of that original trilogy, but then there's plenty of people who consider themselves Star Wars fans who swear by the prequels.
Sure.
And that era. And then there's going to be a whole new group of people who swear by the sequel trilogy.
Right.
Right? And I think it's very telling. I don't know what it's telling, but it says something that the movie, out of all 4 so far, the one that's most directly leaning on people's fondness for the original trilogy, that's the one that performed the most poorly.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. You're right.
Right? Because for all the haters and everything out there, well, this is sort of like aimed at that audience
Mm-hmm.
in a way that none of the other ones really have been, and yet here we are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel terrible for Kathleen Kennedy
Yeah.
because she is getting shit on by people who are like, well, clearly she needs to resign over this. And I'm like, she's made Disney like $4 billion at this point.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I think she's allowed one whiff. But and this is just a leading question. But would she be subject to the same vitriol if she were a man?
At the risk of sounding naive, I think yes, but probably not in the same ways.
Okay, that's fair.
You're right. I mean, that's my personal opinion, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think people just love hating on things that they hate. So I'm sure the hate would be there anyway.
But Brian, honestly,
the type of
I've just about had enough of Star Wars fans.
Yeah, man, this has been a dark week.
It really,
Star Wars world.
You know what I'm realizing? They are all Syndrome from The Incredibles. And you haven't seen The Incredibles in a while, but in the first one, the little boy who's like, I'm a fan, and the guy's like, dude, like, settle down. And then he's so resentful that he basically hates the thing he loves.
Right.
That's it, because what we've heard is Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose Tico in The Last Jedi, has been subject to such sexist, racist harassment online over the last few months that she's basically deleted her Instagram account.
Yeah.
And now, granted, she has not said anything about this publicly at all, so to some extent this is speculative. But on the other hand, it's entirely not speculative because I have witnessed myself how just downright terrible people are when it comes to her.
Right.
It not above and beyond disliking the character, which I did not dislike the character, but you're entitled to dislike the character. That's fine. But people went to the character's Wikipedia page and they changed the name to Ching Chong Ting Tong.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, this really it's one of those things where what irked me the most, I'll tell you, is every interview I've ever seen of Kelly Marie Tran, she seems lovely, number one.
Yep.
Number two, she's a fan of Star Wars. She loves Star Wars, and she's coming at it from this is a franchise that I love. I'm so happy to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And to take that joy and to just piss all over it.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy. And then when you start looking backwards, you say, well, this is not new and related to her. Because what I've heard about her, she's the Jar Jar of these new movies. And I'm like, hey, let's talk about Jar Jar for a second and how much bullshit Ahmed Best had to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about how Jake Lloyd friggin' wanted to kill himself because of these movies.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how Hayden Christensen left acting. Right? Let's talk about how George Lucas, literally, he's like, why would I make more of these when all people do is yell at me and talk about what a terrible person I am?
And they made an entire movie about the hatred towards George Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah. From his supposed fans.
From his supposed fans. So to me, this is something for as terrible as the treatment that Kelly Marie Tran and Kathleen Kennedy, by the way, have been subjected to, and Daisy Ridley, by the way, and John Boyega, by the way. Are we seeing a pattern here?
Yeah.
For a franchise that they love, they sure shit all over it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it's
at
just,
what point, Brian, sorry, at what
No.
point do you just walk away? At what point do you say, you know what, it's not for me anymore?
For those
And that's
people or
fine.
for us?
For them.
Yeah, for them,
Because I'm
yeah.
fine with it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
know I'm going to hit that point where I'm like, well, this is not aimed at me, and okay, what do you do?
Yeah. I don't know. And I it's a hopeless feeling, honestly. I mean, because it's obviously related to the Star Wars stuff, but also just in the world in general right now. There's just overwhelming negativity. And it's, again, speaking to my being naive, I would love to believe that this is a very, very small minority of people with a huge megaphone.
Yeah.
Almost like a wizard behind the curtain sort of situation where we think it's this big encompassing thing, but it's really a couple of idiots speaking into a microphone. And I'm of two minds of it. I mean, my first instinct is like, I say this a lot from The Simpsons, like, just don't look.
Right.
And they'll go away. And I feel that, but I realize that doesn't accomplish anything either. I mean, those things do need to be spoken against.
I mean, it's
something
one
does
thing.
have to be done.
Right. And to your point, I mean, it's one thing to be like us and saying, well, it's terrible what these people are saying. We should just ignore them.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to be the person who's the subject of their ire.
Yes.
Right. And I was thinking about 2 years ago, Leslie Jones.
Right.
Had to
Ghostbusters.
drop off of Twitter, right, because of the Ghostbusters abuse she was getting. And again, it's like, I didn't hear about Kristen Wiig or Melissa McCarthy or Kate McKinnon getting subjected to abuse online.
I know.
Wonder what the thing, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But
So-
go ahead. Sorry.
just to put a pin on that thought. I mean, there's this, a boil of humanity that feels very free to just be a leaking pustule everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry for that graphic, but I mean, that's a problem, you know?
Apt. Yeah. But again, I just don't know what you do. You know what I mean? Like something, you got to do something. And I just don't know what that is yet. And I hate having that sort of hopeless, open-ended thought right there. But here's where we are. What do we do? I don't know.
Yeah, I've had my fill of toxic fandom, and honestly, Star Wars fandom is just about the worst. Like, just a bunch of nastiness. And this is a franchise that I love, that you and I love. This is another foundational aspect of our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And it kills me that people are, just being awful in regards to it.
Yeah, and just it's tough too in this day and age with the resources that are available to them, where they can like manipulate things, and it could literally just be one person who can figure out how to manipulate a Rotten Tomatoes score or some sort of related type of thing to make it look like this is a consensus when it really isn't.
Yes,
and
right.
it's just I don't know, it's really complicated. So
It is. Well, looking towards the franchise's future, obviously things are kind of up in the air right now. I feel like the Rian Johnson trilogy is nowhere near the sure thing that it might have been even a few months ago.
right.
Again, I felt like the reaction to Last Jedi would not have been the thing to put a pin in it, or to put an ice pick in it, I should say. But I feel like the reaction to Solo could very well be the thing that says, maybe that's not a thing we want to be doing right now.
How do you mean with Solo specifically?
Well, I just feel like it's a question of the assumption before was the word Star Wars in the title will put butts in seats.
I see.
And that has fundamentally been fractured, right?
Right.
Not even weakened. Not like, it didn't perform as well as we would like. This is a flop. There's no good way to address this.
Right.
And then that makes you say, well, given that Rian Johnson has already had a polarizing impact, for as much as I love that movie, there's a very vocal contingent of people who will never watch what he does.
Right. Well, yeah, and we've seen, like I was saying, the people who say they're not going, like they may mean it, whereas we didn't
Right.
believe them before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't know. I think everything's up in the air. The one thing I've said, Brian, because I think even this Boba Fett movie that with James Mangold involved is a question mark. I think Mangold being involved makes me a lot more interested than I would have otherwise been.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even that's a question mark. I think the one sure thing is we will get that Obi-Wan Kenobi movie.
That seems to be the thing that universally everybody wants.
Exactly, right? And for all of the... And I saw this article, by the way, on like IndieWire. Breaking. Obi-Wan Kenobi movie will be a prequel to Star Wars. I'm like, no shit, really? That's breaking news?
Right.
Really? Thanks, IndieWire. You know? But that seems like a sure thing because, like you said, it's everyone seems to be in agreement that Ewan McGregor is the best part of the prequel. So whether you're somebody who grew up with the original movies or you grew up with the prequels, you love that character.
Mm-hmm.
So if you grew up with the prequels, seeing Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan Kenobi is the equivalent of us seeing Harrison Ford back as Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And for people who grew up with the original trilogy, well, everyone agrees that he was good, right? So it's kind of like, well, let's give him a real showcase. I think everybody's on board with that.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's... Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, the question is, what story can you tell? And obviously that's a question mark.
That's a question mark, but you know what? They'll figure it out. I have complete confidence. And that's the other thing, too, is, kind of the downer note that I ended on with the other thoughts. But I just... Also, I would love to believe, and I really do believe it's true, that more people of Star Wars fans are good people. and I just hope that they become the majority and we can stop like crapping on everything and just I don't know, just start celebrating what we love again and just ignoring the things that we don't like. And I just hope that positivity returns to the galaxy with all these things. And I just have to share a brief story. So you and I, we did the Attack of the Clones commentary. And
yes.
We easily filled about 2.5 hours of talk about that film. And then I was talking about it with my brother because of that. And we were going on for almost an hour about Star Wars. And I told him, I'm like, we're going to be talking about this in the retirement home. Like, we're just going to keep talking about this. And then my good friend Gene at work, somehow we were returning from lunch and we started talking about Star Wars or the prequels. And we, again, walking back to the office, just chatting it up for a good 30 minutes. And I was like, retirement home. We're going to be talking about this in the retirement home. It's just going to keep going. And then I was in Austin, Texas a week ago. And we were at this bar and we met these people and they kind of joined our party. And then out of the blue, she said that she had just started dating her boyfriend who we had met and he hadn't seen all the Star Wars films. And she said, if we're going to date, you have to watch all the Star Wars movies. So she sat him down and they watched them. And then we started talking about it and she had passionate thoughts about the prequels and passionate thoughts about the new films. And I just leaned over to my brother and I was like, retirement home. I mean, just these people you just met and like all of a sudden 40-minute conversation about Star Wars again. So, I mean, I'd like to think that that's the thing that's going to endure.
Well, Brian, that's how we win. Not fighting what we hate, but saving what we love.
Yeah. Perfect.
So that's a good place to wrap up this conversation and this episode.
Yeah.
I think we covered a lot of ground.
I think so too, man. This is a blast.
This is a lot of fun. It has been too long since we have done a regular headline show.
Agreed. Let us never do it again.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. But as we wrap things up, we're not going to be gone for too long because we'll be back shortly with our commentary track for Jurassic World, and then in our next, Jurassic Park, excuse me, the original from 1993, and then our next regular episode will be our discussion about Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
So lots of fun stuff coming up. As we wind down, though, Brian, where can people find you if they are so inclined?
Well, I write for a show called Puppy Dog Pals, which is on Disney and Disney Junior. And I always say if you have young kids or if you enjoy shows about silly, fun, eager puppies, I think all the above will enjoy it. So check it out.
There we go. And as for me, you can find me at my website, Zackie'sCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter. That's also my Instagram. So feel free to reach out any which way. Also, if you have any feedback for us about the show, you can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star Every little bit helps. We appreciate all the feedback that you have given us, again, about that Attack of the Clones commentary. But please keep that coming. We love all the letters, and we will certainly read them on future episodes. So with that in mind, this has been Movie Film 149. Oh my gosh, 150 is right around the corner, Brian.
Wow.
It just kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So as we wrap things up, please keep it tuned to us, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and